Good evening and welcome to Slam the Gavel, the show that tells it all regarding family court, criminal court, and other court issues, as well as CPS. I am your host, Maryann Petri. You can find me, my books, and blogs on dismantlingfamilycourtcorruption.com. And if you have a story to tell, you're welcome to contact me there as well, dismantlingfamilycourtcorruption.com. Now, I've got two brand new guests on. I have Kenneth Stacy on as well as Nicole Price. Now we're going to talk about an incident that happened in Idaho Falls, Idaho, involving CPS and their children. And we're also going to discuss technologies used for device interference, also wiretapping and eavesdropping. So I welcome you, Kenneth and Nicole, to the podcast. We have a lot to talk about.
Hey, how are you doing?
Hey, how's it
Okay.
going?
Okay. How are you? More importantly,
We're good. Excited to be here.
well, I'm glad because what happened to you can happen to anyone,
Yeah, sure can.
right? And at least your mom, I think, was a big help in resolving this issue.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She definitely was. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about what happened when you were in Idaho Falls?
Yeah. So I originally it all kind of started whenever I was actually going to the post office
Mhm.
to go mail part of my rent check that I had asked for some help from what are they called? Help me out here. Not Salvation Army, but
So,
it was similar to Salvation Army. Yeah, it was a church, the organization that helps with rent. And so I was going to the post office, and I got out of the car. And when I got out of the car, I walked across the street. When I walked across the street, someone said, "Are you Kenneth Stacy?" And I turned around and said, "Well, yeah." And it was a police officer, and he said that I had a warrant out for my arrest. I needed to come with him, and I was confused because I didn't know what he was talking about. I had no idea, and he couldn't verify any kind of warrant. He just said he had one, and whenever we went, he put me in cuffs and stuff, and then I guess it started to get really weird whenever I got to the jail. And whenever I got to the jail, he was being weird with my phone, and he had my phone in his hand, in my hat, and he kept like spinning it in a circle, and he kept like playing with it. And whenever I was got released,
let's keep going.
I know. Whenever I got released, I was looking at my papers, and I noticed that my phone was not in my property list. So
Mm.
they had taken my phone while I was in jail, and they had put something in my phone. They cracked the screen, and they took it apart. They took it apart, and they put like a SD card inside of it. And it took me probably I
A
don't know,
day or so
only a day to
to
really notice it.
really notice. We realized my phone was acting up a bit. Just weird little things that I mean, we're on our phones often.
Mhm.
You notice when there's something different. And things they were almost scrambled, or like we would notice little glitches and things like that. And then he had said his phone was cracked, and we did a little bit of investigation on. I was like, let's Google Maps where your location was and things like that, because we have it tracked on there. Um, it actually showed that the phone had been not at the jail, um, around the vicinity, but not at the jail. Um, at that point, we looked into mine. Mine even had been a little scrambled, so that was odd. We couldn't really pick out dates. It would show different things. We would look it up later. It would show something else. We felt pretty crazy. Uh,
It
That's
honestly,
creepy.
yeah, so we ended up opening the phone.
Mhm.
When we opened the phone, we realized that there was something in it that shouldn't have been in it. We'd never put anything into the phone.
Mhm.
Uh, I had the same phone. We went and bought our phones together, things like that. We opened mine, looked inside. It didn't look the same. You could tell someone had gotten into the phone or dropped it, but the way it looked, you could tell it had been popped open almost. Um, so when we took this SD card out, We were freaked out and we were like, what is going on? Because we have no idea. And so we started messing with it. It would automatically connect to like headphones and things that it shouldn't have been connecting to on its own without a power source, without it. It freaked us out so badly that we got rid of it.
Oh,
Um,
definitely.
like we, yeah.
Took it to a store down the road and just put it in a trash can because I didn't want it near me. It at one point I touched the parts of like the metal parts of the SD card. I touched it to a pair of my headphones and it connected my headphones to her phone and my phone, and I had never connected those headphones to her phone before. Um, and so that was a very odd situation.
Just little things that we were like, this isn't normal, and it was kind of odd, and we didn't know how do you go to somebody and say, hey, this is kind of weird. What do we do?
Yeah.
And so we got rid of it. And after that, I'll let you kind of keep going with.
Yeah, after we got rid of it, we still had like weird things going on with the phone, and we also knew that number were being blocked on our phone that we had never called before, or that we were trying to get. If we try to get a hold of someone, it would block their phone number automatically. And the only way we could contact people that we needed to contact was if we went into our settings and unblocked the phone number.
One of them was the jail. I could not get a hold of the jail while he was in jail. His mother and I, and also a few others, tried to get a hold of a county jail for hours and could not get a hold of them to find if he was actually in jail or not. We were panicking. And that was odd to us. Like, that's something that shouldn't happen. We should be able to get a hold of the jail. And I don't know where it's going.
Well,
Just
how
it
long
was
were you
odd
in
goings
jail?
on.
Yeah. How long were you in there?
I was only in there for what, maybe 5 hours?
Yeah, we got him out pretty quickly.
Maybe 6 hours. So I wasn't in there for very long, but the whole time I was in there, like she said that she couldn't get a hold of jail. They had their phone system went down as soon as I showed up. Basically, it was odd. It was really odd.
So after that, we're freaking out. We're kind of in a state of what is going on. So we decided we wanted to be closer to family. We're gonna go closer to his mom. We're going to go to Oklahoma right now because this is weird. And the only way to kind of like assess a situation is to look from the outside of it. So I figure let's do that. So we start packing up things quickly. We're just ready to go. We get the car packed and things like that.
There were people following. There were people like monitoring. They were like surveilling us. There was a truck that had a snowplow on the front, and they were circling our apartment complex. Had a one way in and one way out, and you could the back way was like around the side of a business, and he kept going around in a circle, and it was weird because he had already plowed. So
Yeah.
we tried. We're out loud. We were saying, "All right, bye, see you later." Like we were separating and going separate ways. And whenever I left, I left first, and that truck that kept spinning in a circle, going in a circle, I went behind a building, and he couldn't see where I went, and I could see him from the other side of the building whenever I went around the side, and he stood up and he like threw his arms up and he got out of the truck and was like standing at the on the truck and was like looking around trying to find me, and she passed by at the same time, and it was
waved. It was just odd. It was stuff that, I mean, that you couldn't like just pick out normally, and it was just all happening at once, and to us it was confusing.
Yeah, it was confusing.
And we're like, okay, let's just, I mean, at this point, are we acting erratically? And we're like trying to just do our best to keep ourselves together, firstly, because that was important to us, and just safe, and try and get to somewhere where we felt like we could assess. So we ended up making it as far as almost out of town.
Mhm.
I was so stressed out at this point that I was shaking. My face was white. I was the only one with a driver's license at the time though, and we were trying to obey any law that we needed to obey, period.
Mhm.
Um, we didn't want to put ourselves in a situation.
Right.
So we ended up having to pull over. I was about to pass out. We got a hotel.
Mhm.
We felt safer there. Yeah, we laugh now. And we go to this hotel. Uh, we got a room. I realized that I've left my phone somewhere. And at this point where we're like, what is going on? We don't want anybody in our phones. If somebody's going to go back to our house and find that phone, we don't want any of our information out.
Mhm.
So I thought I was being smart, covering our bases so that nobody could say that we did anything, that anybody could get in my phone and text and say that we said this. Like that's where we were at.
Yeah,
Like it was
that's
so paranoid that
Oh.
we felt crazy. We really felt crazy. And we were like,
Oh.
what do we do? I called the police to report my phone stolen.
Mhm.
Simple as that. I said, it's very important to me. I have things on there that like my wallet, my things like that is what I've told them. If it's found, I would like to have a phone call and that's all. I just want to report my phone stolen. Here's the model. Here's what it is. So that if anything ever came back to me, I could say, well, I reported my phone stolen. Like
Mhm.
it was stolen. And they started getting kind of weird with me on the phone, asking where I was, things like that. And so I said, I'm at a hotel and we're leaving town. And they asked if I wanted to like meet or like talk. And I said, no, I just want to report my phone stolen. That's it. I'm trying to have a good time with my family, is
Mhm.
how I put it, even though we're in state of like panic.
Oh yeah, almost panic at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was I felt laughed at on the phone almost, just like they just wanted to know where I was. So I ended up telling them which hotel I was at. They were asking what room and things, and I'm like, okay, so now they're coming here as what I'm thinking in my head because
Mhm.
but I don't know why. So I tell them, I just wanted to report it stolen. I get off the phone.
Mhm.
I go back to the room because I had this conversation out of the room. I didn't want to like start panicking and worry the kids because they're with us.
Mhm.
And so after that, we get a knock on the door.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that about where we're
Yeah.
at? I want to make sure I'm not skipping anything or like cutting to the chase of anything, but um,
But I guess a little bit earlier, I had tried to get some food. We called Pizza Hut on
mm,
the hotel room phone at this
yes.
Mhm.
point. And we ordered pizza and we had them just told them to take it to the front desk and leave it at the front desk. And this had been like an hour and a half had
Yep.
passed by now, and so we called back up there, and they said that every single order was doubled.
Every single one.
All their orders were doubled, and they weren't going to come with their food, is what they said. They said they're so far behind that they're not coming with their food. But this time we're on the phone, and
And the
it's
kids
like
are hungry.
it's like garbled and and it sounds like it's almost like I don't know how to explain it.
Like when you like it almost sounds like it's tapping into like it's a weird
Yeah,
like you
like
hear it on TV and things if you
almost kind of
it sounds like
echoey,
that.
almost a little bit.
Yeah, like you can't hear the voice as clearly as normal.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's the voice but it's kind of a little distant.
Distant, yeah, it's distant.
So,
But so they said they weren't coming with our food, and so the kids are irritated at this point. And then then I walked over to Texas Roadhouse, and they also had, as soon as I ordered, all their food was like doubled. They were like so far behind. It was an odd situation that when I say it, it doesn't sound
right.
it doesn't sound
Yeah.
right. It doesn't sound like
Yeah.
But it was
So many things were going.
so many things were going on at this point that we're just trying to keep our heads together.
Yeah.
Sure that we're actually still sane at this point. And but when I come back from Texas Roadhouse, DoorDash was there with our order from Pizza Hut.
Pizza.
which is kind of odd because we called Pizza Hut itself and ordered through Pizza Hut and not through DoorDash, and they were wanting us to pay cash. The DoorDash delivery driver was wanting us to pay cash, and I don't think that really happens. Does that happen?
I'm not sure.
I don't think that happens,
Right.
And so that was.
But we tipped her anyway, and we told her we can't take this food. We already bought food.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not sure what happened. And we go back to the room. We eat. We kind of start getting the kids a little settled down, and that's when we hear the knock on the door.
When we get the knock, yeah.
And at that point, I'm like, okay.
Well, we said that we didn't need you to come there. You know what I mean? And they
said they asked for me, and specifically they asked for me.
And they said that she had a warrant for her arrest.
And I asked if they could show me the warrant. And they didn't. They actually walked away after this for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay. So we wait, and they came knocking back on the door. And they said that, this had probably been about 5 to 10 minutes. And in that 5 to 10 minutes, we're panicking. We're calling our friends and stuff, trying to say, hey, something's going on, and we're freaking out. And now we're just going to start talking to everybody because that's the only way anybody's going to know what's happening to us right now.
That's smart.
So we even said, like, we're worried. We don't know what's going to happen at this point. And we started writing out on pieces of paper that we're afraid of the police right now.
Because they were like stalking us, at this point.
And so I knew I didn't have a warrant for my arrest, things like that. I don't have like a dirty record. So they come back and they say that I need to come out because I'm being trespassed. And I let them know that, like, this is harassing me. You're harassing me and I don't understand. And he literally laughed at me.
He laughed and said,
there's no such thing as harassment.
There's no such thing as harassment.
And I said, yes, there is. You're harassing me. At this point, I'm getting loud.
Uh-huh.
And I'm kind of like, I'm freaking out because I know that they can't kick in a door. But to my knowledge, I'm like, I don't think that they're allowed to. I don't think they should be able to. They don't have a warrant for my arrest. The trespassing didn't cross my mind at the time. If I'm being trespassed, I should have left, to be honest. But I don't know if it's true or not. And I asked them to have the hotel tell me. I said, can you have the hotel tell me that I'm being trespassed? Because I don't understand what's happening.
Right.
And they said, no, you're being trespassed, and now we're here to tell you that, and you need to leave. I didn't. I still stayed at the door at this point. I had been yelling that you're scaring my kids.
Mm-hmm.
They're starting to get worked up. Yes, I was the one getting worked up, but
they were working us up.
Yeah.
One
of my children had fallen asleep. The other we were giving her a bath to kind of calm down.
Trying to get her to calm down because she was screaming and they're just banging on the door at this point. And so we put her in the bathtub to get her to calm down. And sure enough, they kicked in the door. They kicked in the door to the hotel.
I backed away a bit because, they kicked in the door. I was startled. And they put me on the floor. They put my hands behind me. There was about 5 officers.
Yeah, at least
about 5. One stood in the doorway of Ken and
the bathroom. There were 2 in the bathroom that came in the bathroom with me, and I had my phone up, and I was recording them, and they just stopped and they didn't even move. It was the oddest thing ever. They just froze. And
they finished arresting me, and took me out to the car. I was left in the car. At that point, I can only say my side of the story, but I'll let you keep going with what happened from after I left, I guess.
Yeah, and so after they took her, they basically just did
they look around?
They wouldn't let me leave the bathroom. And then so I finally said, "Can I go in on the bed so I can be with my other kids?" Because our youngest one slept through the whole entire thing.
He's great.
Yeah.
And so they said, "Yeah, you can go out there with the other kid." And so I was sitting on the bed holding my child, and I thought I was going to be arrested too because I had just got out of jail, and you know what I mean. I was on
like a probation or
basically
bond.
On bond, and I figured that they were going to arrest me too, and they said, "Nope, you have nothing. You're good." And so, but they went through the room and they tore everything up, and they like moved everything around, and basically ransacked the room, and they left. And whenever they left, the door was still kicked in, and the deadbolt was still broken. And so I was trying to get the hotel to try and fix that, and they said no, that we're not going to fix the door. So I was trying to fix the door myself and just at least get it screwed in, because I thought someone else was going to come in. At this point,
We're
absolutely
pretty
terrified.
worried about hotels now.
Yeah.
It's an
Oh,
uncomfortable
I
thing.
don't blame you.
Yeah. So
And so I had the door shut, and I'm really paranoid and freaked out at this point, and I'm just like looking through the peephole, and someone comes up from the other side, from where the lobby's like from. There's one way you can, when you leave, you go right, and there's a lobby to the right, and to the left there's like another door, an exit door and a stairway. And from the left, I just see like a shadowy figure come up to the door, and they slid something underneath the door, and they took off again, and it was my child's social security card,
which I had
which
in my
you had-
pant pocket at
yeah.
the jail.
and a note from her. And I don't even remember what that note said. It was one of the notes that we were writing whenever we were saying, like, if anything happens to us, our children are supposed to go to my father's house in Oklahoma or whatever, things of that nature. And
We had gone that far.
Yeah,
Like,
that's how far.
we were worried, and our children were our first priority of what are we going to do? Like,
yeah.
and we're just, yeah. Um,
And so, and then whenever they slid that underneath the door, I kicked the door and yelled, don't come back here. Like, why are you guys there? They were harassing us. They were trying to cause fear and panic in us. And it
worked a bit.
it did.
So
Mm.
later that night, I got brought to the jail. And on the paperwork, they had wrote that I was homeless. And so I would not give them any more information until they changed it.
Mhm.
And they wouldn't. They said, we'll change it in the computer system. And I wasn't having it. I don't know why it hit me hard, but I did not want on that piece of paper that I was homeless. And because I'm not.
Right.
And like, I'm just, and I felt like that was going to come back and get me somehow. And we're not homeless. We're we've been fine. We had some struggles, but we were making it through. We were figuring it out. And that's kind of why this hurts so bad, because we had it under control. So I went to jail. I wouldn't sign this paperwork, and I wouldn't give them any more information. They put me in a cell. I stayed in that cell for, I believe, 5 days. I wasn't moved anywhere. I was told if I did not fill this paperwork out, if I did not change my clothes into inmate clothes, I would not get to see the judge. And at this point, I am like, I don't know what's happening. I've asked to see a medic because I don't know if I've lost my mind. And I need to talk to somebody where I can like see if I'm okay. And I slept a lot of it. I didn't eat much. And I was scared. And then I got the paperwork saying that my children have been taken, and I lost it. I didn't know what was going on. I had already been in the cell for 2 days. And now I needed to get out. I don't know why nobody's bailed me out. I'm assuming it's the same kind of thing that happened with Ken. So I'm waiting. I know that he's going to come get me. But now my kids are gone. I don't know if he's in jail. I did ask an officer, and he told me that he did not have that inmate in. That was helpful. But while I was in there, I couldn't call out. It kept saying that the call was disconnected or that I was doing it incorrectly. I asked for help. I couldn't get help. They said that you just need to read what's on the paper. And I'm like sitting there like, okay, I just have to trust that he's going to come for me, and the kids are going to be fine. So at this point, I take their clothing. And I say, I'll change into this inmate outfit. I don't care. I just want to get out and see my kids. I don't think it's fair that I shouldn't get to see a judge. I thought that was my right. of course, it's a holiday weekend.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So Tuesday, it was Valentine's Day. So Tuesday comes around and I still hadn't signed this stuff. I still hadn't answered all their questions. I had gotten as far as putting my clothes on, and then I kept hearing a voice in my head saying, "You need to not give in. Like, this isn't right. And at some point you need to stop giving into all these." So I stopped. And they asked if I wanted to change, like, I wanted to wear shoes, no, I would like to see the judge, and they told me that when it happened. Tuesday came around and they came and picked me up to see the judge. And I was I was thrilled because at that moment I had 3 questions left, he said, on my paper. Let's just get through them, he said. Let's get done. They came and visited me at least 3 times a day, trying to get me to finish this thing, and they wouldn't move me into a cell with a bathroom. I had to ask permission to go to the bathroom, things like that.
Yeah.
I saw the judge. I got out. Let's just say that I ended up getting out when bailed out. I get on a plane. At this point, we're still talking in code and things. I got a hold of Ken. Oh my gosh. He said that the kids were gone, but I needed to get on an airplane right now. So I did. My flight got delayed so many times that it was a 12-hour delay. And I'm sitting in the airport freaking out because I still don't know what's happened. While I was in jail was our first scheduled, what is it called? Hearing for the children. And I don't like to say this because I don't like to say that I'm like this, but I faked a seizure to not go to it because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say at it, and I didn't understand what had happened. And I didn't want to make it worse. And until I could be okay and not in this state, I probably horribly faked a seizure. But they postponed it to the next day, and I was bailed out immediately after I had this seizure.
Interesting.
After the hearing was postponed to the next day because I was not able to make it. But I was out of jail, and now that I was out of jail, we have a new hearing. And we got assigned lawyers, that sort of thing. We got told we'd each have a lawyer. The children had a lawyer. This was hard. Yeah. This was so hard and so confusing and just.
And that's what I think that they try to do is they try and do all this stuff to make us panic. I feel like that they made us almost
question ourselves.
Question our sanity.
They tried to split us up almost. We felt because we were holding each other together.
Yeah.
And
whenever they had arrested her, and they left, I went to a different hotel the next day. And at this point, I finally got a hold of my father and my mother, and my dad got me the hotel room in a different hotel just down the road, though. And
I'm sorry, we're going back a few days back to.
Yeah, this is back.
Yeah,
yeah this
I'm
is
sorry.
Back,
well, yeah,
I guess
because
backtracking.
you had your
I don't
issue of jail, and then
Yes.
he's
And
on
getting
the other
out.
side, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is my side, I guess, that whenever she got arrested, and then so I was in this other hotel, and when I was in there, this they wanted a credit card for incidentals, and some lady just showed up to work and said, "Oh, I'll help you. I'll put my credit card on." And that was very odd to me that someone random would say, "Oh yeah, just put my credit card on there." And my mother had gotten in contact with her right after that, and her email went from no picture, and when she's back and forth emailing my mom, it went from no picture to a picture of the monster from Monsters Inc. The guy that's the one that takes the kids in Monsters Inc. Randall. It went from no picture and her picture turned into Randall throughout their emails. And
oh, that's creepy.
Yeah, very. And so I was still, trying to keep myself together. And I was just trying to get out of Idaho Falls. I was trying to get out of Idaho Falls so hard
With the children.
with the children because I had both them with me. And I it was right next to an Applebee's that I had worked at. The hotel was that I was staying in. And I kind of got the kids together and I had a blanket around them. And this is Idaho in the middle of winter, and it's
Mm.
negative. It's like 20 degrees outside, down to the negatives in the middle of the night. And I walked across the street, across the parking lot from the hotel to Applebee's, and I called a friend there that I used to work with, and made me seem like I was crazy, and he was
Because we're
telling,
not using our cell phones at this point, and
Yeah.
people were like, "What are you?"
yeah.
Yeah, but
And yeah, we probably did look kind of crazy running around like that, but
Mhm.
it's literally the position that we were put in.
or at least we felt like we needed
Yeah.
to put ourselves in.
And
Mhm.
so whenever I left Applebee's and went back to the hotel, I I walked past it was like a conference room,
Mhm.
and I looked in that conference room window, and it was the front desk lady, the Uber driver that drove me to the hotel, and a couple other people in suits, and they
Oh.
were sitting around this conference table, and I didn't know what was going on. It was the weirdest thing ever. It was the most odd situation that I've ever been in my life, and I didn't know what to do, and I just went back to the hotel room and got the kids to sleep. And when I walked downstairs into the lobby, I woke up and I was like, "Oh, I want some ice cream." So I went downstairs to get ice cream, and there was probably 20 cops in the hotel lobby. And they said, "Are you Kenneth Stacy?" And I said, "Nope." And I turned around and started to walk off, and they all rushed me and put me in cuffs. And one of them had a battering ram for the door, I guess. And this was all on camera. It was
Yeah,
all
we
on their
have
body
video of
cams.
it.
Oh,
It was all on
good.
their body cams. And
Oh.
they said, "We're going to take your kids from you. Um, we're going to take your kids because they're in imminent danger." Because I walked from across the parking lot and they didn't have shoes on.
Because the shoes had been in our car,
The shoes
and
were-
I had the key
Yeah,
in jail.
Oh.
yeah,
So he did try and wrap them in blankets and things, but even at that point, you don't think you're going to get your kids taken away for
No.
trying to figure things out, like really, like I don't know. You just don't think that's going to happen.
and
I yeah.
and then whenever they had a warrant, they actually had a warrant to take my kids from me. But it had my oldest daughter name on it. My oldest daughter's
Who is now with
she's 11, and then it had my youngest daughter's name on it, who's at the time was 2 years old. But they ended up taking my youngest boy and my middle child. But on that warrant it said two girls, and they took a boy and a girl whenever they went to the hotel room and took the kids. So the warrant that they had was not right, and they told me that they were going to go get my oldest child. They were going to go get her. They were asking me where she was, and I said she's with her mother, and she's safe. And they said, "Well, we're going to go find her." And then they left, and they took my kids, and so it's like negative 15 degrees right now at that time, and I walked to my oldest child's house where she was staying to make sure that she was safe,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't show up there, so that was odd,
And then you looked.
and then I got up in the morning. Well, I didn't even really sleep. I kind of halfway slept a little bit, and then I got up in the morning and I got on the airplane and I flew here to Oklahoma
Mm-hmm.
without my kids. And at that point, I just didn't know. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. And I was
Mm-hmm.
questioning my own sanity. And yeah, it was.
And then once you finally get to the point of, hey, we're going to go to court and things like that, you're still pretty wobbly on
If you're saying,
if you're sane and who's helping you and who is actually trying to help you get your kids back, because it felt like we were being told we were out of luck
Mm.
from our lawyers, just saying this is your best route is to do what they need you to do and get your kids back. when I asked for advice from my lawyer, I definitely asked, what is the quickest way I can get my children back? That was my question. Like,
Hmm.
what is happening? I should have had them back to me the day I got out of jail. Um, because I wasn't there when they were taken.
Hmm.
And because Ken and I are not married,
Hmm.
things like that just should have come into play.
Hmm.
Um, while looking for next of kin for the children, while looking for where they should be and not in a foster home.
They called all of my father's ex-wives. I know that sounds bad, but um,
Yeah.
they called all of his ex-wives. So anyone with the last name of mine, Stacy, they called all of them, and they all live in Kansas and Oklahoma, and so they were all calling my father and all calling like, "What's going on? What's going on?" And it was an odd situation. I don't understand why they called all of his ex-wives.
Yeah.
Because they
Yeah.
had nothing to do. They had nothing. I didn't spoke to a lot of them in 20 years. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we're wondering where they got the information even to call the people they did,
Yeah.
because none of my family was reached out to, things like that.
Hmm.
But going forward, we were still scared and we didn't know what to do. So we were taking advice from our lawyers.
Hmm.
And they told us that we should do what they needed us to do. So we went to this hearing. Um, I tried to explain my side a little bit because I was feeling as though it was getting neglected, to the fact that, hey, I'm here and I can take my children and nobody's listening. They are assuming that, like, I'm not sure what they assumed, but
Hmm.
my lawyer included didn't listen to me. I wasn't advocated for well, and that's hard. We tried to find a lawyer, and let me tell you,
no one will take a case like
yeah,
that, because they're
we looked hard because
yeah.
we deserve to have our children. I feel
Hmm.
like everybody should at least get a chance to have their children, and
Hmm.
we were panicking. We didn't know how to get our kids
Mm.
back. So we agreed to go along with whatever stipulations to try and get our kids back. Fast track is what they were telling us, basically. Then about a weekend after we had started doing all these chores that they had assigned us,
Oh
um,
yeah. Yeah.
and phone calls from all these people saying, "Hey, we're just calling from on the side of your children." And so obviously I'm going to listen and I'm going to talk a little and I'm going to figure out what do you mean? And I'll tell you what, I talked to so many people and not one of them listened to me. I had gone over, yeah.
Well, and they do this thing where they have one person that takes the children away, the CPS worker that takes the children away,
Agencies.
and that person, you no longer talk to that person because that was just I don't know what they were on
Oh,
call
they
or
they
whatever.
did orientation with you basically. They're out of the picture now.
They're out of the picture now because then you have to talk to this other person
Uh-huh.
that's the temporary CPS worker, and then 2 weeks later
Yeah.
you have to talk to a different person that's your I don't know, what do they call it,
I'm not a caseworker
your
Or
caseworker
an
that's
intake
temporary.
worker.
right.
Yeah, a
So
temporary one or
Oh.
something.
because if one told us one thing, then 2 weeks later we said, "Hey, this was said."
And they
We're trying to figure out, so now what's the next step? And they're like, "Well, we're not your caseworker
Yeah.
anymore, so you have to talk to your caseworker now."
Yeah,
So it was
it's almost
pushed off,
like
pushed off.
it's almost like a deny, like a giving them
Time.
not necessarily time, but able to like say, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain it. I'll have to think about that and get back to you.
Okay.
Yes.
But I mean, we decided that we're gonna get strategical, because we've heard horror stories, the
Hmm.
worst stories of how long it takes and what you have to go through and all these things. And yeah, we were willing to do whatever.
Hmm.
But something again in the back of my head was saying at some point, like, what, when is this like not okay? Like holding your kids against you hostage to answer questions, and saying that, okay, I have recordings. We recorded everything from every person we talked to.
Hmm.
We have everybody's opinion. Um, Sorry,
It's fine. It almost gives them like they're able to like what's it plausible deniability, I guess is what I would say it's called.
Yeah.
So then no one's accountable. I guess no one's accountable
Mhm.
for anything. Is how it almost seems like whenever only you work with this person for 2 weeks and then they have another caseworker, it almost gives them a reason to not be responsible for anything because no one could give us answers.
There's
No one
no
could give us answers.
accountability in this system, in this, and that's what we've come to realize later. I mean, really analyzing this later, we're pretty level-headed about things,
Mhm.
and I feel like we fought the fight correctly as well as we could have because it was the right thing to do. Um, and we were scared. We were so scared that doing that would make it take longer.
Take longer, yeah.
We were terrified every single time we talked to somebody. Was this going to make it so we don't get our kids back today?
Right.
And every single day was hard,
Yeah.
for us. And yeah, any phone call that we had ended with frustration and confusion, more confusion.
Mhm.
Was this person really on our side? We're being told it's an investigation, but also that they're our friends,
Yes.
because they have our children, and
Oh,
it's really, they put you in a place that's, 'cause you don't know where you're at, and
Yeah.
having your children taken from you and held against you for anything is, you'll do anything.
Yeah.
You'll do anything.
right.
Within 3 months, she had another court date for the traffic or for the
For the
trespassing.
trespassing.
for the trespassing, and so she flew from Oklahoma to Idaho to attend that hearing. And whenever she flew and took that flight back to Idaho, they just said, "Okay, here, take your kids."
Yep. Because at that point we had been fighting so hard. We had been
We were
pushing.
calling people every day.
Yeah, I was calling them
Wow.
at towards the last month. I was calling them every day.
Yeah, trying to figure out what's the next step. What do we need to do
Yep.
now? What do you want us to do now?
Hey, I'm just checking in because you checked in on me. I want to make sure that we're still doing this. I want to make sure that you know what we're doing at all times, basically.
Mhm.
We were a hassle.
Yeah, we were basically.
So it tested us every day. We weren't sure if we were making the right moves every single day. One of us kept quiet. Ken
I didn't say anything.
never answered one phone call from them, really. Never, just took the side of, no, I'm
But
not
I
going to
also-
talk to you,
But I also
because
said I would do whatever they needed me to do. Like I went to the classes that they wanted me to go to. I just didn't want them I didn't want to say anything and then them be able to misconstrue anything that I had said and use it
Right. Which
during
they
the court
will.
date.
Yes.
That's exactly what they tried to do. Yes.
So I spoke with them. I recorded everything. We just kind of had each other's backs in the way of, we're getting our kids back.
And they wanted to know the whole entire time what our relationship was.
That was the main question.
That's what they kept asking us. Are you guys yeah, they kept asking over and over and over again. What is your relationship with each other?
Are you and Ken together?
Yeah. Are you guys, yeah. Are you,
That was what was
relationship? Are
important.
yeah, it was weird seeing other people. And that doesn't matter. We're trying to get our kids back. You know what I mean? That's the only thing we're working together to get our children back. And that's the only thing that should matter. It didn't matter if we're having a relationship or not. It was odd that they really wanted to know that so bad.
So we used that and we fought with it, and we really did. Where we could give them a hard time, we did.
Yeah.
Where we thought that we should fight, we did.
Mm-hmm.
And it scared us. His mother has been dealing with stuff like this for how long?
For over almost 15 years now, 10, 15
He
years.
knew that we should be scared.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it took us 3 months.
Yeah, 3 months.
3 months, and we got our children back.
And they gave us, whenever they gave the children back to her, there was not even a CPS worker there.
Correct. The foster parents met me. They gave me my children back and a bag of clothes. They had the foster family. They were kind. They left us with some little goodies for the children and things like that. We never had real issues with that. It was the CPS situation, and they should have been there for our children to be released
Hmm.
if
Yeah.
they were watching our
If they
children.
were actually doing what
They were
they say they're
guardians.
doing, then they should have been there to hand the children over to her. Who's to say it wasn't even her? You know what I mean? Like, right? You know,
Right, right.
There were so many other little just things. I mean, from us reporting, like calling and reporting a kidnapping because those warrants did not say both of the children's names that were taken.
yeah, they
And
took the wrong children, basically.
they said your children are safe. They laughed about it. It wasn't considered a real thing, but to us it was. They weren't on that piece of paper, and we don't know
Mm.
what's happening. And you took our children. We're freaking out, and we're doing everything to stay within the law to get our children back.
And I feel like they were not. They were just. They were laughing.
And then handed our children back to whoever at the end. And that really got to me. That hit me hard. And it hit me to where I there's so much wrong with the system. It wasn't a person. It wasn't a person that did this to us. It was a collaboration of not being audited, not having correct training, not
Mhm.
understanding people. I looked into it, and AI decision making is being used in a lot of the Idaho court systems, things like that, CPS decision making. I've done a lot of research after, and people are doing their jobs. They're doing what they're told. They're doing,
Right.
but they're not auditing themselves, and they're not
Yeah.
putting humanity back into AI. They're not showing mercy, and that's what humanity is about.
Whenever they to see if you'll go back to jail, the recidivism rate or whatever, they use an AI system basically to put all your information in to see what your bond amount's going to be, how much your bond should be, how much
So we're
if you're
like,
going to go back to jail or not, or if you're going to
Oh.
run. How can an AI system be used for that to tell me if I'm gonna show up for court
or
or
to
not?
even hear us out to see what we're actually going through. Is there anybody that can relate to this?
Hmm.
Because maybe you're in the wrong. I spoke to my lawyer. I asked her, how many cases have you won? Because to me, I'm not really sure the language I should use, but how many have you won?
Uh-huh.
And she said, well, I've been doing this for 20 years. I said, well, but how many have you gone to court and tried to fight and won? And she said, I have prevailed twice.
Mm.
And that scared me. This
Oh,
is who
yeah.
is fighting for me. This is who I, and she said at the end, I said, so did we prevail? And she said, yes. So that sucks.
So that's she's been doing it for 20 years and she's only gotten
And
she's
are we
only
the
gotten
only
to
ones
the
that spoke
point.
up? Are we the only ones that fought like really hard?
Mm.
And it's not just that, because I understand giving up literally anything for your children.
Hmm.
It was almost, it made my stomach churn to do something that could damage me getting my children back. Is me
Hmm.
fighting gonna hold them for one more day?
Yeah.
Mm.
And that's not something I should have to make my mind up about ever. And that was happening. And that's hard, because I want them to see that we fought for the right things. We fought for you, and we fought for our family,
Hmm.
I don't know.
I can't
I,
imagine the stress level.
The max.
yeah,
To the max,
Oh.
and it just feels like you have all these questions and
nobody has an answer.
no one has an answer and no
Mm-mm.
one's there to help. They're just it's odd.
It's a system that really should be looked at and audited and put more thought into. We don't have enough employees. Let's put an AI system into it, see how it goes,
Yeah.
and then not check on it because, well, it seems as though it's going fine. Yeah, but to
Mhm.
who? To who? Because if we would have had our children taken for any longer, I don't, I don't know.
Mm.
Every day was hard. Every day was so hard. Um, I don't know. I don't. I'm
Oh,
like,
I can't
I get all,
imagine.
towards the end of this, I get so just a lot of emotions because
Right.
there's so much that could have been done if one person would have heard us out a little harder.
Hmm.
And that didn't happen.
Well, even with this AI, I heard about some lawyer that ran a case just using AI and he did not check the case law and he got in trouble because it was not the right case law.
Yeah.
Right? And how often is that happening?
Yeah.
And those are people's lives. Those are
Right.
our children being happy with us for every single day of their life. Every single day, not getting held up on some decision making AI systems that are saying, hey, these guys could maybe not deserve their children. So let's hold them for a little bit longer until we can get it figured out. That shouldn't be the scenario. It shouldn't have been that they were taken so abruptly and so honestly viciously.
Over not having shoes on.
Right.
That's because, we're here in Oklahoma now, and we go to Walmart, and there's kids literally in a diaper in Oklahoma in Walmart.
And we are not judging. We're
And
like, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
But we understand now that we need to fear that, apparently.
Yeah.
And that's it's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard. We are scared sometimes of getting our kids. We are always scared of getting our kids taken now.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
I bet.
even of technology, I turned my phone off the other night and set it outside because I was afraid that
Yep.
I don't know.
We don't log on to some things
Yeah.
because we're unsure if it's the
If
right
our
thing to do. And I mean,
information's going to be taken or used.
I understand being cautious. You should be cautious and you should take your own.
Your cybersecurity seriously,
But at some point, isn't it vicious and malicious to attack people in the way that they're being attacked? There's sometimes.
So the kids have adjusted well. They're not having nightmares or they're good.
they wake up in the middle of the night and they scream bloody
Yes.
murder. For the first probably 2 weeks, if the door rattled for any reason or someone knocked on the door, they would be terrified. They would scream and they would cry and shake. And it was
To this day, we can't really walk away. And I know, trust me, we don't want to. You know what I mean? But you have to walk away sometimes. And
Right.
they'll lose their minds.
They get terrified.
They
They're
get
terrified
because we're out of the room or because
if we get out of the car, and we're
Aw.
going to even get there is fear. There's now fear.
it's definitely traumatized them for sure.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I won't keep you much longer, but if anyone
Okay.
has any questions, can they reach you or do you want them to come through me?
Yeah, they could. Yeah, that's fine. They could reach.
Yeah.
They
What?
could email me or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, they can
Okay.
email me.
Because we did. I think we did well. We did well in trying to get our children back. We did get our children back. We were
Persistence.
grateful and
Almost unheard of in 3 months.
we
Oh,
want to
yeah.
give people like some hope and some loss of fear in
Yeah.
this.
If they're in the same situation,
We're
Oh,
even
yeah.
close to kind of let them know that you it's that life's not over, and because that's how we felt almost, and that there are people that have gone through this wrongful
Persecution.
experience. Yeah. And so
almost
we're
it's almost like a judgment thing for that's how I felt. That
Right.
they were judging the way that I lived because my children didn't have shoes on for a brief period. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's just how I felt about it.
sometimes it's just nice to hear that you're not crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, no, no.
So
Because that's where,
Yeah. If anyone has any questions or need any clarification, they can email me.
Okay. Definitely. I'll put that in the podcast notes, but don't jump off, okay?
No, you're fine.
Slam the Gavel. It's a podcast to help the public understand what really goes on in these courtrooms. I'm your host, Maryann Petri. You can find me on Spotify, YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Apple, iTunes, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Google, and other platforms I don't know about. Again, feel free to buy me a coffee to help keep this podcast going. Thank you so much, Ken and Nicole, for encouraging everyone else that persistence does pay off.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.